Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to this weekend's video. Today we're going to be having a look at the Ozito Power Xchange 18 volt chainsaw. I reached out to Ozito, explained to them that I had a few reviews of their pruner kit, which you'll see the link there up the top, and then I was very impressed with it, and I was interested in picking up myself one of these 18 volt chainsaws for the purpose of taking out camping and the like, and certainly for managing the backyard. But the focus on this one was for taking it camping. I did head out camping just this weekend. We've gotten back, and this video was going to basically be just an introduction. I was going to take you through it, you know, cut in some B-roll footage and come back and then tell you what I thought of the saw. I went out with Steve and Karen. Steve has his YouTube channel, Mudduck Touring, and I'll put a link there to his channel at the end. It'll be down in the description. I'm just going to throw that footage up of us out you know, camping and just using the saw and putting it through its paces for its first time. Certainly this was the first time Steve had laid his hands on this saw. I'll roll that footage now. At the end we'll come back and we'll just do a quick wrap up. Here we go. The guard works really well. I suppose because it's just an electrical contact, so it stops it pretty well. So when it's going, but yeah, it just cuts it straight off. So yeah, real good. Weight wise, it's quite nice. You can see it's one-handed. The problem is it's all plastic.
Yep.
And I think it will be very easy to forget that you could still take your arm off.
Yeah, so, good point.
So, not the hardest wood.
No, but
pretty hollow in the good. But again,
it'd burn well.
That's what you'd use for firewood.
Absolutely.
That's what you cut for firewood. So it does say it does up to 8 inches, but
well, I'm not getting it out for you to cut it. That's all right.
Again, just for chopping firewood.
Exactly.
I think this is bloody ideal.
For swap operators, I'll have a go at it.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I'll just and the good thing is, like when you're not using it, when you take your finger off the trigger, it's not running. It
stops there.
So you can put it down somewhere it's safe. That it's plastic, we were surprised how heavy it was. Yeah. So we think it's all motor, basically. So
I like it.
for the size, I think I've got the guard on mode as well, stopping you. Yeah.
I think it's as good as you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of real trouble.
Yeah.
I think from my feel of it compared to a power chainsaw, you just don't push it.
Yes.
Just let it do its own thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. I found as soon as you started to lean on it, it was starting to bog up a bit, and you know.
Right, just holding it, letting it do its thing. It works its way through.
And in theory, I mean it's only been through a couple of bits of wood at home, so the blade's still nice and sharp, so it should be at its best at the moment. The battery's fully charged.
Admittedly, these are fairly hollow.
They are fairly hollow.
I don't know how to go on a good bit of hardwood, but still. This would dig out our firewood for tonight if we were able to have a fire.
Yeah, if we were able to have a fire.
Unfortunately, we're in a total fire ban today. So.
And pretty quickly too, like, you know, if I wasn't using that and I couldn't use a chainsaw, I'd be on that bloody handsaw.
And we're still cutting the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're looking for something that's not hollow, that's going to be about the limit of what the chainsaw can handle. Just try and find out that it made short work of the other stuff, but it was fairly hollow.
What I noticed on the last one, Brett, is let it get the full revs before you hit the timber.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can sort of see it winding up.
It does have a bit of a wind up, which surprised me. I thought it would just be, again, the trigger is just on and off, but there is a bit of a spool up time. Safety trigger on the side, so you need to push that in to engage the trigger, and you will hear that click when you get right to the top. Anything up to that point, you'll get no action from the saw at all. It is literally either on or off. There's no throttling of the chainsaw at all, so there's no changing the speed using the trigger, just on or off.
Pulling a bit of timber.
I was just looking at that.
Give you a look at the end of this so you can see it.
Beautiful.
That's done a good job.
The little petrol one I got home would have made quicker work of it. There's no doubt.
I'll tell you what though, for what it is, that's pretty impressive.
120 bucks they are, like just the skin.
Yeah.
Like forget the battery. The battery, that's a 4-amp battery. That's about another 60, 69 bucks for the battery, not on sale. And then obviously you need a charger. So, you know, so for less than 200 bucks, I would say thereabouts, you'd get the charger, skin, and a 4-amp battery.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't think they do these in a kit though. Sort of, you know, skin and battery and all that sort of stuff. So
Maybe we take this back and tighten it up.
yep. Now just as far as tightening up the chain, you just release this a little bit on the side here. And you'll see there is a lock and unlock symbol. So just back that off a little bit. And you come around to the inside of the bar and you'll see there is a little screw just there. You can tighten up or loosen to put some tension on that chain. Come back around to this side and then just tighten that up. So the only thing I don't like is that it's the same thing that I probably do like about it, in that unless you've got that clutch engaged, the hand guard engaged to turn it off, I mean you still have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, oops, sorry.
But it's still possible that I could have that on my lap and grab it and accidentally trigger it on. Where at least with the petrol one, you got to start it.
I guess real safety feature, pull the battery off it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You can't run then no matter what you've done.
But again, I reckon it'd be real easy to get too comfortable with it because it's so plasticky and just think, oh yeah. You know, when you're using a normal chainsaw or a petrol one, you know you've got something that can hurt you.
The size of that saw, that's pretty decent long. That's not bad.
It's pretty good. Again, it wasn't quick.
No, but wasn't hard either.
And I did hear it sound like it was just, you know, trying a little bit. But like you said, you don't lean on it. Don't put all the effort on it. Just let it sit there and let it do its job. Would you mind if I cut one, Stephen?
By all means, it's your bloody saw.
Just want
Oh, he's bogged it.
We have.
I didn't bog it.
To lean on it a bit and just see what it did, because I just want to see if I can make it quicker. But
no,
other than that cut you did, I don't think. Oh, you've seen there. I don't think you're making that any quicker by just putting any pressure on it. Just stops it dead. It could just be the length of the blade, but compared to my 14-inch at home, it just seemed like, I don't know. It seemed to be a rougher cut. Like when you were trying to put it in, it's almost like the spacing between these was,
yeah, I think so,
out of kilter a little bit, just because like when I put and I think the petrol goes quicker, and obviously it's got more torque.
There's no doubt in my mind.
But when I put the petrol one down at home to chop wood, it was just starting to cut down. It was smooth, where this one wants to sort of kick a little bit.
Took a bit of work, yeah.
Jump it a little bit. Anyway, just jumps a little bit to get that initial cut, which I think could just be the benefit of a bigger blade.
Could be.
Not a blade, bigger bar. I've been told I can't call it a blade.
We all need a bigger bar.
Yeah, or a bigger bar. So, but
I'd say for what that is, that's pretty successful.
I reckon it's a ripper. About longevity, but it's got 5-year warranty on it as well.
5 years?
5 years, yeah. Which you can't really complain about. And because it comes through Bunnings, I think everybody's returned something to Bunnings.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's pretty much to keep your receipt and everything, but I don't think you'd have any issues taking it back if you had a problem with it. I don't know whether the batteries have got 1 year or 2 years, don't quote me on that, but yeah, 5 years warranty. I think that's...
Yeah, but how good is that if you've got a bunch of other Ozito tools and you're using those batteries anyway?
Well, I do. That's where that battery come from, so I've already got the set. I'm still going to grab myself another battery so I can charge these in the car. The one thing I would like to be able to do is charge it off 12 volt, but I can't. So, but I'm going to carry this, which means I'll get a little inverter. 300 watts, I think, covers this.
That's what I do. I've got a 300 watt inverter, charges me battery. So
and then I'll carry this. When we go camping, this is firewood. No more buying that stuff from bloody service stations at $15 a pop.
How's this? I mean, that's a big log for the test, but you know, we'd be cutting this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just working our way down through all those branches.
Like what, 3-4 inches is what you would, because you know if you cut that down, you've got to carry it back. I don't know about you, Steve, but I'm getting lazy in my old age. And yeah, I'm not carrying that back. But that is perfect size for bloody firewood. I'm happy with that.
And viewers, a disclaimer, we're in a forest, we're allowed to cut the trees. This is not a national park.
That's correct.
Firewood gathering is allowed.
I love having my chainsaw in the car.
Absolutely.
If you're doing tracks or something, like even just coming in here today, like we're not greatly off the beaten track, but it's quite possible that there could have been trees down or something. Better than a hand saw or an axe. Not that I'll have any issue using one of them, but
well, you use what you got.
Given this is an option.
Flip that back in.
Back in there. Obviously you can just undo that, take that blade off, and then that would fit in that bag.
Yeah.
I haven't, obviously. That's all's required. I mean, literally that's it. That's all I've got to take.
There's enough tools around here, mate.
Yeah, that's correct. Just back at home, I've just pulled out the little Echo chainsaw that you'll see over the back here. Now, as far as this model goes, it is a CS309ES, just in case you're curious. I'll give you the specs up on the screen there. I don't remember the CCs or any of that sort of stuff, but it is a small saw. It does only have a small bar there, you can see. I think that's a 14-inch if I remember correctly. And this is the saw that I would normally, if I was going camping or something like that, and I wanted to get myself some firewood, this was what would go in the car. But now looking at the little Ozito, I think that's going to take the place of this in the car. I'm still romanced, I think like many people, by a petrol saw over the electric. But as far as just leaving something in the car that's going to be handy to grab, I don't need to worry about carrying petrol, I don't need to worry about the smell, or certainly not storing petrol in the vehicle. So it's light, it's relatively small, but it still gets the job done. As you can see, we took on some reasonable sized timber, which probably would have been about the 8-inch, which is at the advertised limit at the little 10-inch bar, and it certainly worked well. You'll want to use a little bit less pressure on it than you would with a petrol saw. It just simply doesn't have the torque. Keeping in mind this is only an 18 volt battery, it's not a double battery setup or anything like that. Certainly slower than the petrol saw, but for the benefits of not having to carry petrol in the car, this is an absolute ripper. It doesn't seem to get quite the speed that we get when we're using the petrol saw, which makes the petrol saw that little bit smoother when you're cutting through some timber, but once you get the bite in, it works just fine. It's going to depend on the blade length, whether that's suitable for something you want to do, but for firewood duties this thing is absolutely perfect. Now when I finished using this, I was able to stick it straight back in its bag and throw it into the back of the vehicle. Didn't have any heat issues. Certainly where I'm using the petrol one, I've got to wait for that to cool down a little bit before I throw it back in the bag, and again, you know, before you put it into the rear of the vehicle. From a noise perspective, if you're going into areas where you're probably not meant to use chainsaws, you could probably get away with this over a petrol. It's certainly a lot quieter and less invasive. You know, if you are allowed to use a chainsaw and you're at campsites and stuff like that, and you've got other people camped around you, but you don't want to make too much noise, this is probably the way to go as well. As I think you saw from the footage earlier, very impressed with this, super happy with it. Thanks very much to Ozito for sending this one out to me for the purpose of review. Thanks very much guys for coming along this one. We'll catch you on the next one.